The number 3 Grandview Vikings moved to 3-0 on the season with what I would call a workmanlike win over Missouri Valley College. Head coach Joe Woodley joins us. Agree or disagree with that comment, Joe?
Yeah, any victory, I don't care what adjective you use, it's a good one. So, yeah, it was just kind of a slow burn. We just couldn't quite get into a rhythm, throughout most of that game offensively, and but sometimes that happens. And to be very honest, let's give some credit to Missouri Valley. I anticipated them having a nice defensive plan, and they certainly did. Maybe some things we weren't quite, I don't want to say we weren't prepared for, but just some different looks, some kind of muddy looks, and they're dropping 8, they're bringing 6. It makes it tough on a quarterback, makes it tough on the O-line. Not an excuse, but it's just kind of two ends of the spectrum there, and they did a good job executing. But at the end of the day, we still figured it out, down the stretch, and we were able to put some points on the board, and good for us. We have a pretty good defense, and they played about as good as you could play, throughout the course of a game. Just anytime something kind of backed us up or put us in a tough situation, it seems like the defense kind of bailed us out. We fumbled the punt right away, and so they got to go right back out there after they were just out there, and they get a stop, hold them to a field goal attempt. They missed the field goal. We give up a big punt return later on in the game in our own territory. Defense comes out, 3 and out. They miss another field goal. So defense played well, but again, certainly a lot of bright spots on offense too.
Yeah, you mentioned the shutout, the first shutout by Grandview in the series against Missouri Valley College, but it's kind of a staple with this program.
Yeah, we've again, it's. Yeah, I suppose you're always shooting for a shutout. You're always trying to do that. But yeah, it seems like we have had a number of them the last few years, and it's credit to the players, and it's our job as coaches to try and put them in the best possible positions they can to succeed. And then from there, it's them carrying it out. They got to defeat blocks, make tackles, and all those kinds of things. And and unfortunate for us, we've got a lot of good players that can do that. And certainly was on display Saturday, but also a lot of things to get corrected, to learn from on that side of the ball, as there always is.
A couple names to throw out offensively. Dalton Van Pelt, another 100-yard rushing game, and then Lewis Brooks. Tell us about Lewis. He had a big reception in the game.
Yeah, Louis he's kind of just been one of those guys where he kind of reminds me of Street when Street was a junior. He wasn't quite in the offense yet, and he kind of had to fight his way in there, and once he got in there, he made a big impact, and I feel like that's kind of where Louis trending towards. He's had a little bit of a role, but man, it seems like every time the kid touches the ball, something's happening. He had the opening kickoff, which was a big return, and obviously a couple big plays. He had a huge play against Benedictine, and we knew he was capable of it. It's just a matter of him getting repetitions, and he's still fairly new to this thing, and a lot goes into it. Some people just say, hey, receiver, just go run and get open. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. And he's starting to figure it out. And, in really a good timing. We've got, we're banged up in that position group right now, in a group that, quite honestly, we don't have a ton of depth. And not that we don't have depth, we're fairly youthful in that position. So we don't have a lot of guys with a bunch of experience there. And, it's nice to see Louis step up, and of course you mentioned DVP. He's just, I think he's very workmanlike, as the word you used early on. He's just dependable, and rarely loses yards. He gets downhill with everything, and he's always falling forward. So I think he's just continuing to get better and better each week, and he's really shown some skills out of the backfield catching the ball, which can be that can be pretty devastating to a defense when you got a guy out of the backfield that can catch, make a guy miss one, run him over. Probably more so in DVP's case. So that'll be a nice weapon to have.
Okay, we look ahead now to this Saturday down to Canton, Missouri against Culver Stockton. The Wildcats have had a tough go of it recently, 0-4, coming off a loss to Baker. What do you see out of the Wildcats team this year?
Yeah, Jeff, I know the record probably doesn't on paper really turn your head, but if you dig into them and watch them on film a little bit, I see a pretty talented football team, and they run a defense that you don't see very often, and so that's one problem in and of itself, and it's structurally very sound. It's just different. It's not, like I said, it's just not something you see all the time. So you got to kind of get prepared for that. And they got some playmakers over there. They got a DM that's given us fits in the past. Seems like he's been there for 10 years. But and they got a couple good linebackers. And they've been doing this defense so long with them coaches. I just think they really know what they're doing. They know what gives them problems. They know how to fix it. So. That's probably one of the things that jumps out to me with their defense. And then offensively, I think they've just they've just gotten in their own way several times. I mean, I think their first 3 possessions against Baker on Saturday, they turned the football over, and those are really just decisions. Decisions being made. Quarterback, I think they fumbled right away. It was a nice throw and catch. They fumble. And then the quarterback throws 2 interceptions, consecutive possessions after that. And then, when those things start happening, it's tough to kind of climb out of that hole. But if you watch them throughout the course of a game, I mean, they got a big physical offensive line, and they got 2 or 3 running backs that I think are pretty darn good. They got a Division I wide receiver transfer that is, I think he's at 120 some yards a game. Big kid, big target. We got our hands full. This league, top to bottom, is tough, and we got to go out there and quite frankly, we haven't played. I don't think obviously Benedictine may have looked like we played a great game, but there were certainly a lot of mistakes in there made by us, and we're still striving to put 4 quarters together, play clean, no penalties, turnovers, things like that. And I just got done with the staff meeting, and I told our coaches, I'm like, as good as our defenses play, we only have 3 takeaways this year. So, we need to be a little bit more advantageous in those situations too. And so, believe me, there's a lot to work on within this football program right now. We're fully expecting to go over there and get their best shot, just like we do against everybody. Everybody wants to beat us because we've been the conference champ for a number of years, and we're going to get everybody's best. And but that's the way you want it. You want to play in those games that where guys are really they're fired up to play. It just makes for a better atmosphere. And we're going to go over there and expect a 4-quarter football game, and we need to put 4 quarters together with our team. So looking forward to it.
As well as I. All right, Joe, look forward to it. Saturday, Grandview at Culver Stockton, 1 o'clock.